Oh my God, I almost had a perfect intro. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to, let's see, today's episode will be episode 15 of Sundays with Sin. First and foremost, it is insane to me that it's been 15 motherfucking weeks. That is crazy. I want to give a huge shout out to my support team, all my listeners, all my followers on Kick, all the followers on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I did want to let you guys know we do officially have Sundays with Sin merch in the merch link. I did link that for you guys. And it is the quick little, we're just going to show you guys I got my shirt in. And then here's the back of it. Let's see if we can turn real quick and get this. Can we do it? I'll post pictures later. Don't worry. Don't worry. Anyway, today I have with me none other than the Rogue Commander. He is the face and the operating system behind they have a regular gaming channel, right? It's Rogue Commander for the gaming channel, and then RogueCmdr3D for the 3D printing channel. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself to those who don't know who you are? Tell us who you are.
Hey everybody, my name is RogueCmdr. I'm a sci-fi and survival variety streamer on Kick. Also started on Twitch, and also a 3D printing channel, like she says, RogueCmdr3D. One of the, I would say top 3 3D print channels.
Yeah, it is pretty accurate.
At least regularly. Yeah. I don't know, top 5. I don't want to boast too much, but top 5.
I mean, you're one of 2 that I know of, so
yeah.
You're the only other one that I've seen besides, our friends over at MacPrints.
Yeah.
You're the only one I follow, I should say. But go ahead, continue. How did you get started in 3D printing?
So 3D printing started just over a year ago. Something I wanted to get into, and one of my friends, he's my first manager that I had in my IT career, that I still talk to. I've been in IT for 20 years. He's been into 3D printing, and he offered to trade me one of his printers for a bunch of stuff I had left over from when I owned my own business. So he traded me that, and I just got and started that, and then like all my hobbies, it started with one printer, another printer, and another printer, and at one time I had 8 printers. I shrunk down a little bit, but now I'm almost came back up to that 8 again. But I specialize my printers where the main difference between me and MacPrints is MacPrints has all his printers are the same printers meant for the same abilities across the board. Where
Right.
I took a different approach. I have lost specialized printers. Although I do wish I had at least 1 or 2 of his printers, because I don't have those abilities that his printers has with multi-colors. So, but that
Okay. So you
it's
said
either
that.
pay for.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna
What
say
you're saying?
it's either pay for his printers or I can't get my family here.
Right. We're gonna
So
dive into that too, because that's actually a
yeah,
really, really cute and cool story. But as far as the printers go, so the current printers that you have, you can't do multiple colors. Is that what you're saying?
not natively. So
Okay.
he has a brand called Bamboo Labs, and they're they've developed a system that allows them to use multi-filaments on that printer itself. So it's all proprietary. I can do it if I do a couple. Well, there's one solution that I can buy that's $800,
Mm-hmm.
or I can build my own, kind of like a DIY kit, which I have. I have actually 2 different versions of it. I just haven't sat down to do it. One of them's very um, intricate on how it's put together,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one, um, I've been waiting for some updates to it so that way I can use it, but I decided to use it on another printer. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I've been procrastinating.
Okay.
But neither of them. The one that I can go and do right now gives me about 4 colors that I can use. The one that I have to build and print all the pieces for, which I did, I can do 6 to 8, but they're all expandable. The difference being with Max, he can to, I think he has his up for 8 to 12, I think. But he can go up to, I think, 16 or 24 colors. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
Um, but it gets really costly because they're like $300 a piece, and those printers are at least $1,300 a pop.
Oh my
So
goodness.
they're not cheap.
Wow,
um,
yeah, that's a hefty. That's like one of his printers, like the price of my PC we just got. So that's
yeah, I mean,
that's a lot.
one of his printers is like a mortgage payment, and um, I have a so his is called an X1 Carbon. It's a really great printer. I have a brand called Reality, which is based out of China,
Okay.
and they're pretty much like the known starter brand for most 3D printers. But they've been really stepping up their game, and they came out with their answer to the Bamboo, which is the K1 series, and
Okay.
that's what you'll frequently will see on my streams is my K1 Max, and I just got a K1 up and running, bought a pre-used one off auction and got it fixed up and working great. So I've been off air for a couple weeks now because I've been trying to redo my whole. Sorry, Mike. I have a cat that doesn't learn to stay off. Thank you, cat. There goes all my screws that I just had set out here.
It's fine. Chat's very familiar. I have 4 cats myself. Sometimes they're trying to eat my wall. My Christmas tree is in shambles. Some of the branches are actually broken on the little Christmas tree down here because my kitten especially likes to attack it. So I have the cat tree back here. We used to have a redemption on Twitch to give the cats catnip. So it's Chat's very familiar with cats and we welcome them because this is their world. We just live in it. It's fine.
Oh, I stopped fighting with this one on getting my desk. He has his own bed up here, but I also have screws and stuff set up here because I was doing some work. And uh, see, he's back up on my desk again. Stay.
Yep, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
And normally
Why
he
even bother
minds,
at this
but
part? At this point, you know,
yeah.
it's
But he became a known thing on my streams. I actually made
Mhm.
so his name is Gunner.
Oh, cute.
Or because I'm Rogue Commander, he's Sergeant Gunner, but he's the stream sniping cat.
Oh, that's too
So
funny.
because every time I would stream, or he would know immediately and come running and jump up on my lap. Now he doesn't jump up on me, but he goes to the spot. So
So, how did you get the name Rogue Commander?
I've actually, I'm gonna date myself here. I'm 40 now,
Okay.
just recently, and I've had that name since the third grade.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
taking how old I am, I'm talking about Apple IIe era type computers that we had back then.
My daughter just turned
Pre,
9. She's in the 3rd grade. So, we're talking, 31 years ago. Got it.
yeah. So we had Apple IIes and those. So Oregon Trail. I don't know how. I liked Star Wars. Everybody equates it to Star Wars, and it might be a combination of that. But I I don't know. It was a combination of that, and I remember, I love archers and rogues. Like not rogues like the dagger type rogues, but rogues of the ranger type.
Gotcha.
And I never played D&D when I was a kid, so I became
Okay,
an adult.
gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
that wasn't so much an issue. But yeah, it's just I don't know that's just what I remember as the mindset behind it, and it's been with me ever since then.
Right on.
So at least 32 years, 30 years. Yeah,
Something like that. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
What got you into content creation? Because we've discussed previously, we've been following each other for a little while now.
yeah,
And we were just talking about that prior when we were setting up and stuff. What got you into content creating? You've been doing this for about 10 years, you said, right? Or streaming in
yeah.
general?
Almost 10 years. Um, well, I mean, I've been a gamer for 30 years. Before gamers were gamers. When everybody else had a Nintendo and a Sega, and
Mm-hmm.
people were like, "What's a Sega?" I bet.
No, I know what a Sega is. I'm
Oh,
I'm almost 30
I was
myself.
well, I was checking your chat to see if anybody was saying, "What's a
Oh,
Sega?"
gotcha. We have a lot. I think there may be like 2 people ever that come in and chat that probably don't know what a Sega is. Maybe
Um,
3 because she's not really a gamer, but she is roughly the same age as all of us, like, or the same as ages like me and the rest of my chat. So
at least I
we
said
have like 2
Nintendo and not
maybe.
like at least I didn't say like Commodore or Atari. So I never
I was
played
just
stuff.
gonna say or an Atari.
Yeah, but all my friends had Nintendo and stuff like that. And I grew up. My dad was former Navy and he worked at Motorola, and we had a computer. And I just grew up with computers. So I mean, I had my own computer in the third grade, which is a big deal back then. Um,
Mhm.
and I grew up learning DOS, and I remember watching my dad playing. There was an old game called Syndicate, which they remaked into a first-person shooter, which I ignore that game ever exists. I remember him playing that. I remember playing the computer games like Oregon Trail and stuff. Um, I remember being a kid having to play a Sesame Street spelling game and stuff like that. And then my computer had DOS, Windows 2, I want to say, had a CD-ROM, which today you put a CD-ROM, you just put a CD in the slot.
Yeah.
Back then, you actually had a case that kind of like what CD cases look like now, where you open the lid, you put the CD in there, and you actually put it in a cassette, and you inserted the whole thing in there.
My grandpa's
So,
been big on computers since they started becoming a thing. My grandpa, he's had like the same old styled. When I go over there for Christmas, I'm gonna have to take a picture of it and send it to you. My grandpa has,
oh,
like, I swear to you, one of the first original computers that were released to homes, and it is still sitting in his office. He still uses it. It still
I,
works and it runs and gets the job done. It's insane.
I'm really curious how it still works. Because nothing should be working on. Well, I mean, the computer itself may still work, but I don't know how anything on it would work.
I don't
But
either, but I'm telling you, I my grandpa has had this for I'll be 29 in February. My grandpa has had this at least for 20 years, this computer.
well, God, well that's not that bad because that's just Windows. That's Windows 2000. So, well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking older than that. So,
No, I should have clarified,
yeah.
sorry. But like still a 20-year-old computer?
Well,
That's
it's
wild
also
to
that
me.
was
My
it's that
computer
fact.
is my computer is like 4 years old and we're looking at
Yeah.
replacing it because it's slowing down and doesn't do the shit I need it to do. So we went ahead and started looking at parts today for the PC that we're getting.
Well, I mean, I've had a computer that was like 6 to 8 years old, which was my actually my first i7, which was the first generation. I gave to my dad, and that's pretty old. And then my computer is a 10th generation, and my stream PC is my old fourth gen. Um, that I actually turned into the stream PC. So, like right now, I game on this one, and that one's doing my OBS stuff now. I used to do everything on my
Damn.
main PC, but everything's just getting way too demanding for the graphics card. So now I have it split out.
Gotcha.
Plus my
Okay.
plus my 6 monitors.
Well, yeah, so we rabbit trailed a little bit there. I'm sorry. We were talking about, but
Oh
we
no worries.
were discussing about the start of you doing the content creation or the streaming of it.
Yeah.
So were you on
So
Twitch when Twitch first was a thing? When Twitch was a baby?
yeah, so it was like I said, it was a natural evolution of being a gamer. And it was my fiance at the time, ex fiance. Um, it was something that I got into, and then I was hoping that she might get into. Um, and I started with using XSplits, which at time was like the premier type program to use. We didn't have Streamlabs back then. In fact, Streamlabs was a chatbot program called Awkbot at the time, or
Okay.
very early on. OBS didn't exist, so it was like very early in streaming history. I mean, was around for a little while, but um, yeah, I started there and I grew, and then I was probably one of the first ones to get into the Twitch affiliate program when they released that. Um,
Okay.
like the before Koopa Trooper group came around, there was a group called Team Emily, which was like one of the largest kind of like communities. Um, to everybody, all the bad habits that we kind of leer at now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we learned those bad habits back then. So, um, yeah, it's interesting, and because I've always had my career to fall back on. I've had to take some breaks in my life from
Mm-hmm.
streaming. Um, I don't like say like, oh, I need a mental health break. Right? I just, I got stuff I got to focus on. Last year, I had to stop to take care of finances and stuff like that, and then just recently, I kind of took a step back to focus on other things and focus on the printing side of my content creation.
Yeah, so
Um,
you've been doing a bit of both. So you do game on the Rogue Commander game page, but then you have an entirely different page, is what we're talking about today. Well, I mean, we're
yep.
talking about both technically, but the page that we're talking about today mainly is the 3D printing page. So you have a whole stream set up. Now, what exactly goes, is it just a 24-hour thing? Can you tell us a bit about what you showcase on there, or how often you're live, or what you like showing when you do click that like go live button for the 3D page?
So I try to be 24 hours. And hopefully once I get back on, I was hoping to be up back on this week or this weekend, but technical issues kind of prevented me. But it's supposed to be 24
Story
hours.
of my life on my
Um,
stream. My chat can attest to that.
I think that's pretty much a curse for everybody. Uh,
Yep. Know it all too well
um,
over here in Sin City.
yeah. And I try to. The idea was kind of like same with Mac prints, and it's weird because I started my print channel early last year, but I never got into the part of making it a full thing. I went live a few times, but um,
Hmm.
I didn't go full stream ahead until this fall with it. Um, so I kind of started it and had the concept before like Mac Prince and some of the others, but I just wasn't. I didn't have the setup for it. I had a whole idea to get it into my garage, and I had a whole print shop built out, had a server rack and everything for cameras. And by the time I was ready to do it, it was summertime, and here in Arizona, you don't do stuff like that in summertime unless you have an air conditioned garage. And I don't have an air conditioned garage, and definitely was not going to run all that stuff when I'm
Now
paying $300 for electricity.
is that where your
Good.
setup is? Is in your garage, your 3D printing?
No, now I have it in
Okay.
my front room here.
Okay.
Um, so I have all my printers in my front room. I have cameras on Raspberry Pis, or at least I did today. Um,
Can you explain to me what that means?
so Raspberry Pi is literally it's just a small microcomputer. Is the one I had sitting on my desk. I must have put it in there. It's literally just a small microcomputer. I mean, it's pretty powerful computer. You can do quite a bit. A lot of, probably, I can show you like about the size of one.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe not.
I have a Mac Mini. Is it similar to that?
Oh no, no, no.
No.
This computer is literally the size of a cell phone, or
Oh,
actually smaller
wow.
than the size of a cell phone.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably akin to the early like Intel i series almost. Like, but it's pretty powerful. I mean, you can use them to be media servers or be a lot of people use them to be emulators for the old consoles. So like I use them to control my printers because most of the printers have their own computer board. But I use a Raspberry Pi to kind of replace the brains of it. So because the Pi is going to be much smarter and able to do
Okay.
more things. So literally the printer becomes dumb and the Pi tells it what to do and how to do it, but it also gives me a web interface so I can sit out my computer and just shoot the, you know, kind of like you print documents. I can just send the file over and
Mm-hmm.
hit to start printing. Um, right, I'm kind of using it as a webcam server at the moment. And I have a different hardware that's similar to a Pi, being the brains of my computers or of my printers right now. Um,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
mostly it's mostly my dumber printers. My K1s I don't have connected to that because they're actually pretty smart.
Okay. I
So
I was I was it's actually familiar, or not familiar, similar to how you were talking about using the Raspberry Pi as like, you can use them as like servers. me and a friend of mine actually run who is in the chat right now. We were talking about my Mac Mini when I get my PC. He already has a Mac Mini to go ahead and run the server for like their company and stuff. And excuse me. And they were looking for another one. I said, "Hey, I'll give you mine." Like that's what they use the Mac Minis for, is running servers as well. So it's so ironic to me that that is coming up in our conversation now. And the first time I heard of that happening was like 3 hours ago, talking to my friend.
Yeah, so a Mac Mini would be it's a small scale of the PC hardware, whereas this
Hmm.
would be an even like so we have a term called small form factor in the IT world. That's kind of what the Mac Minis are, or a thin client. I have a mini PC over here that I was going to use for that purpose as well.
Hmm.
Um, this would probably I would call this maybe micro in size.
Okay.
Um, I mean, literally, it's just a board. It has maybe 8 gigs worth of memory on it. It has
Hmm.
4 USB and Ethernet and no display. But a lot of people use them for like robotics. So, like a lot of people do Arduino type stuff, or kids that are into Roblox. Their natural evolution is getting into robotics, or like kind of those sci- old science kit type projects that require some programming and wiring and stuff. That's pretty much what lot of that's used for as well. Um,
Now, does all your knowledge with this come from your 20 years in the IT field? Is that where you learn all this stuff, or have you always had a knack for technology or the computer aspect as we started evolving as a society?
well, I mean, I was born in '83, so I grew up, and don't call me millennial, please.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
I'm a
Yeah.
zennial.
No, I won't say
Um,
it, but
yeah, I call myself a zennial.
Millennials
Um,
aren't bad. It's the ones after us that I'm really concerned for.
yeah,
That's the
well, yeah,
ones. That's the ones we're really, really concerned about. Those are the Tide Pod eaters. That's not us.
yeah, and that's kind of why I say don't call me millennial. But there's actually a
Yeah.
sub thing. I know we're off topic, but a sub thing called zennials. It's Gen X millennials, and that's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, because I grew up in '83, I just kind of grew up with the technology more than some of the later millennials. I feel like they got more better toys, you know, but now I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Like kids' Legos are 10 times better than the ones we grew up with. But like as a kid, I
Oh yeah.
loved Legos. I loved erector sets. Um, don't have the engineering neck, but
That's what
um,
Negan got started on, was erector sets. We've been trying, they don't really sell them. But
no,
we found there's a very select few that you can find on like Amazon, but they take like weeks to ship out. And
and they're all from China.
my mother-in-law found one for our oldest son, our middle child, for Christmas actually, because uh he would excel in that. He would excel
Yeah.
with that. He would love it. He'd have a heyday.
Oh, there was a toy set called Capsula. It was literally capsules that had either the gears in them and stuff like that, and then you put those together. I love that thing. But no, I just always had a knack for it, and
Hmm.
it's funny we're talking about this because we were talking offline about my master's degree, and I have to write up a paper about like our personality traits.
Hmm.
Like I'm an introvert. I can't remember the other three letters of that, but um, it lends to my type of personality as far as being technical minded and analytical. It's just but with 3D printing, there is a technical part of it, but as my
Hmm.
former boss would say, there's a lot of art to it. Even if it's like a technical issue, there's a lot of kind of like art and finesse you have to kind of learn because there's a huge learning curve to 3D printing.
Yeah,
Uh,
we wanted to dive into a couple people in chat already asked. They said, like, what are some of the things that you 3D print? And my question was going to be, what's your favorite thing that you've printed?
well, hey Google, turn office lights to daylight. There, now you can see my background.
Oh my goodness.
I 3D print. Well, a lot of it's my geek stuff, but 3D printed a lot of stuff. Um, Let me
Oh
turn my
wow.
microphone here. But that kickbox I made and designed.
Yeah, I was going to pull
Well,
up
actually, you can't see it on
my
camera.
plaque.
Yeah, the
I
kick
do know
plaques.
that this is the one who made this kick plaque for me actually, and the one I have back here on display. But yeah, this is from RogueCmdr3D. I won this. Well, Papa won it and then gifted it to me because Papa doesn't stream as much as he'd like to anymore, and I stream on Kick, and so Papa was like, "Give this to Sin," and this is from RogueCmdr3D.
And oddly enough, even though it turned out super great, that back one was a mistake print, which
Yeah,
is like the whole art thing because you got to learn which layer to actually pick. And I had it off by one layer, and but it came out super good.
I
I
did.
like how
I
it came
think
out.
it fits really well too because I have a really, really dark room, and because it's not like one of the light boxes and it's just a plaque that sits there, it you're able to still see it though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's there and it's nice. I like it. I'm really happy with it. I love it. I felt so cool when I got a kick plaque. Um,
My my favorite. Are you gonna jump off my desk? Come on,
Probably.
here. I'm making a decision for you.
There you go.
Uh, I don't know if I have a different. There's a lot of things I want to print I haven't printed yet. Um, like I said, I like sci-fi, so I got a few ships. I'm into MechWarrior. Grew up on MechWarrior. That mask is actually a test print I did because somebody ordered a helmet from me, so I
Oh,
test printed it
they
first for
can't
me.
actually they can't see
Oh,
those because the angle I have here. I don't know how
um,
easy it is for you to grab it.
I can fix that. Uh,
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cool.
there's the kickbox,
I might need to get one of those.
and I
I
just the latest
I
one
might
I
have to
just
get
made
one of
for
those.
Grayson. Made
Yes.
one for Grayson and Iceman, and
Grayson, he wasn't at his desk when we did our interview, so we didn't get to see it, but I have seen it. We were chit-chatting. Grayson's one of my good buddies. We were chit-chatting about it. He was showing me it. I was like, dude, that looks so cool. I was like, I love that.
yeah, he
And
got
then
his a little bit
Ice,
late.
which one of Ice's did you do?
Uh, which one did he? So I don't know if he has. He has one of mine. Um, well,
Mm-hmm.
he ordered two kick signs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we did two light boxes. One of them was "Love Your Face" that he was going to give to somebody. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't actually see him post anything about it, so I don't know how he felt about his. But the other light boxes with his logo and it lights up with the white and the blue. Um,
Yes.
but
Yep,
it's the
I was
same.
there
It's
with
the
him when
same
we were
shape.
putting it together. We were putting that together actually in his office. We were on video chat. Ice is one of my good friends. We're going to DreamHack together actually. And
Yeah,
we were putting that together in his stream room to figure out like where to place it and stuff.
yeah.
I
He
thought
would have
that was
gotten it.
sick. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it would have been at least 4 or 5 weeks ago when he got his. Uh,
Hmm.
Voltage was another one who got one. Who's a rap music artist. And a regiment
Hmm.
member. Um, yeah, I've only had four of them, and then I have this one, and then like I'm selling these on Etsy, and my kick signs
I think we're
I
gonna
do
have
on
to get a
Etsy.
Sin one. I think we're gonna have to talk to each other, and I think I'm gonna have to place an order. Speaking of placing orders, I have someone who is interested to eventually place something with you. They want to know, where would we be able? What's the best way to contact you to place an order? Do you have a website to place? Do you prefer Twitter DMs?
Um, so there's two answers to that.
Okay.
A secure and current online option is through Etsy, but I have my own domain. It's RogueCmdr3D.store.
Okay.
I do have quite a bit on there, or I can't say I have quite a bit because Mac has a whole lot more than I do. But he does a whole lot more, and he has a graphic design
Yeah, but this is
artist on his
about
side.
you. It's fine. We're
Yeah.
interested in what you have to offer.
Um, but like custom, so if it's like custom stuff, um, DMs would be better. Like, cause I'll print anything. Um, if it's something that has a license to it, it's better if you can provide me the actual files for it. Um,
Okay.
if it's something that I can get that, or you're like, hey, find this for me, I can do that. Um, like this helmet, which was a test print that I did, and then I printed out the real one. in cosplay PLA. So there's an actual company that makes a filament that's just for cosplay, which allows you to sand it and stuff.
Oh,
I
cool.
printed this just to make sure I can print it with no issues in
Yeah.
regular white, and then printed his. Um, which is an odd helmet because it's not like anything recognizable. But
Yeah. I can imagine you probably have like a lot of trial and error when you get sent like new projects you haven't done before.
oh well, I little turd knocked over the box that had everything in. But you should see how many iterations of Grayson's logo I had to do for his light box.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
have it where it's actually like the GR and the slashes that are in like
yeah.
the whole logo. Yeah, we placed that logo actually on the podcast on that episode that we did with him. We had that like how I have your logo we were talking about. I did that with Grayson's as well. Um and I saw that the light box and I was like, man, that had to have been a bitch to print. There's so many like
I
fine details of it because it's not some people think that 3D printing is like this easy little setup or whatever, but I've seen you guys like I've seen the setup, I've seen like the process like with Mac when I won keychains in his channel. I've seen like the whole setting the files and getting the color codes right way and figuring out what layers what like you were talking about when you did my plaque and you missed it by just a layer. Um
Yeah.
I've seen it. There's such an intricate process to it. Does it ever get easier? Like if you do something multiple times, does it get easier for you?
Oh yeah, I've designed all the stuff I print
Mhm.
now, like the kickstands and stuff. Um I designed and I actually know like what layer I should be doing that. I do like a lot of my simple stuff in Tinkercad. So like when I get your guys' logos, you know, I take them, I convert them over to an actual different format, import it
Mhm.
into CAD, and then because it's just a flat file at that point, then I can stretch it out to make a flat 3D object. Um, I can't really do too much manipulation, but I actually know what the measurement should be, so I can go in there. I'm like, okay, I know this needs to be 9 millimeters, so I'm and 2 meters off the floor, so I pull it up, and it should be at the right level
Mhm.
because the K is at if you look on your kick sign, the K is actually a higher level than your lettering.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Let me see if I can
and
show.
and that's why
So
also,
you can see like
you
that's the
have
lettering right here, and this is where the K is.
now the difference between that and what Mac does is
Mhm.
I can only do color changes at a layer level, and
Okay.
I can't select different things to do individually. I have to do it literally at the vertical layer level. Mac, because he
Okay.
has the MMUs, they call them AMS. There's actually programming, so it actually has all the spools preloaded, and he can go in there and choose which colors.
Yeah.
And what it does, it will do, and it'll print the certain layers in that black, and then it'll go spit it out, poop it out, we call it, clean it, and then swap layers, and go back and then do the next color, um, and just keep doing that.
Okay.
Me, when I have to do it, I print, the black, and then I have a code in there to pause it and
Mhm.
retract the filament so I can go in there and switch it, and I have to switch it
Mhm.
manually. So I have to pull it all out, write it back up, pull it back in, shoot it down the nozzle, and make
Okay.
sure it's all going through, and then resume the print. So it gets a bit tedious, but once you've done it like a couple dozen times, it's pretty easy.
You kind of touched base on this question here, but I wanted to see if we can like dive in like just a tad bit more here.
Yeah.
Jordan asked, do you have like a photo of what you're trying to print and then you just like kind of send it to the printer itself and then it just does it? Or is there, you talked about like a program you have to send it through. Can you talk us a bit through that process and try to explain kind of how it works?
So with logos, it's different because it's a flat layer. So
Mm-hmm.
literally, it becomes just like if you look at your kick sign, I took your logo
Mm-hmm.
and all I did was just add the Z to it, so it has the backing to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can kind of resize it, but I can't like change things. So like
Yeah.
with yours, well, you didn't give me the logo. I actually went in and I went into a program called Canva, just a quick little photo editor. I could have done it in Photoshop if I wanted to. I did a couple font tests to see which one Papa liked, and we settled on
Yeah,
that
because
font.
remember we tried getting the one that Mac and Stocks had worked on together, but I wasn't able to get them through the DMs. And so Papa was like, "Here, can I just do a new one for you?" And I'm like, "Sure, go for it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I did a couple of those, and I just saved it to a transparent PNG. Um, I use another web app to convert it to what's called an SVG, which is like a more
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you call it. It's kind of like a vector file format,
Yeah,
and
actually,
then I just
that's
import it.
actually exactly how you would describe it, as more of a
Yeah,
vector format. I just learned
yeah.
this actually in school. We're on this topic right here, is learning the difference between vector images and raster images and all this stuff. And I had to draw an octopus for class today. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it on Twitter, you should check it out.
Uh, I used to be a so not to sidetrack, but I used to be a professional photographer, and I had to self learn everything. So
Hmm.
um, that's a lot of my stuff, because I didn't go to school for any of this.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
so I just import that in a CAD. Now, what your chat viewer might have thought, I can't take like a picture of an orc or something like that and make it in a 3D image. I probably could if I knew how to do it in like Blender or something like that. And I'm
Hmm.
um far from those skills. That's something I didn't meaning to sit down and do. I have Blender, I have Fusion, um, and a bunch of Fusion 360. I just haven't had time to sit down and learn it because I got so much more on my plate. Being a system engineer, project lead, and a fiance that's 15 hours ahead of me.
Yeah,
So
we're
yeah,
almost to that
and then
point too, because I want people to hear your story. Because I just,
yeah,
maybe we can put something out there and see what we can do to scrounge up for you. But yes, um,
you can do a part two.
yeah. Hey, we have a lot of people interested in 3D printing. So cool to me, because I was telling
Yeah,
Negan before we got started with this, I was really actually I was looking forward to learning more about it, because when I started seeing that 3D printing was getting kind of popular, was that you could find like those little pins on, Amazon, and you could like put the material in the pen, it would heat it up, and it would start like printing the line for you, and like it made it look like you could sit there and just start drawing a 3D image. And my brother actually bought one, and my brother actually started creating stuff. He's an ADH kid, like hardcore. And so he hyperfixates on things, and he hyperfixated on this and started making stuff left and right. And when I went to go visit them 2 years ago for my birthday, I come into his his dining room table. There's like a windowsill, and there's like all these little like weird things just sitting on it. I said, "What's all this?" And he goes, "Ah, don't worry about that." It was all like these
yeah,
little failed experiments.
yeah. I don't like the pins. I've seen so much I've seen so many of them being like given back to Goodwill and sold on auction sites. I just don't have a steady hand to
I think
sell.
it'd
That's
just be
my
a cool
only.
little fun hobby, like a little knickknack that people
Yeah,
took interest in, I think is what it mainly was. Because you see, if you really want like a really, an actual like 3D printed image, or really anything, because you've made masks, you've made logo signs. Have you
so I've done helmets. I've done light boxes, signs, uh, figurines galore.
how do the
Um,
figurines work?
well, those
Are
are
those
so
more
there's
difficult?
sometimes to print they are. I don't make those designs. I get those off of other websites or
I was
other
gonna
creators.
ask, isn't there like a
Yeah.
program, like kind of, would it be similar to like those who do like prints on like t-shirts and stuff? So like my sister, for instance, she makes my merch. She has like a Cricut, and she goes ahead and she designs a lot of stuff. Sometimes she'll do it in like the Adobe Illustrator or something, and get like she'll draw it out or whatever, but she sends it through to the Cricut, and the Cricut goes ahead and like, you know, pulls the image any which way or whatever. And it's like, is there like, and she can find some images too, or like fonts or something, to go ahead and print it, like save the file in like a transparent file, and get it going. Is that similar with those where it's like obviously not a transparent image, but like a,
No,
explain
it's
that.
it's not an image at all. It's all 3D models. So
Okay.
So no, it's people who go like they actually make the actual 3D model. So you can go to like sites like print like I'm on there. I'm actually a design, very rudimentary designer, but on printables.com, cult with an S, 3D.com. There's a lot of these 3D sites that the people will design things and put them up there. Some of the bigger designers, like there's one called Fotis, Fotis. He does a lot of like busts. I had a Kratos, might be in my, I think it's in my car. I had a couple months back, I did a giveaway for when Diablo 4 came out. I did a
Mm-hmm.
bust of Lilith and Diablo. I printed those out live
Oh, that's
and gave those
cool.
away. And Cultus designed them. I mean, they have so much detail. So it's really just taking you take your print. So like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a kick sign or a 3D model, you put it into a program called a slicer. The slicer will go in and calculate and program every line, every turn, every coordinate that it's going to spit out filament in
Mm-hmm.
every layer, and then you save it, and then you just push that file to the printers, and that's how fundamentally it works.
You
Um,
did do if I'm not mistaken, didn't you do like was it like a headset holder or it was like a mask, wasn't it? Didn't you do something like that?
well, I haven't done a mask. The only thing I've done is the helmet.
Was it a
Um,
helmet?
yeah, it's this one.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I must
Yeah.
be thinking of something different. I thought
Um,
I thought you did something recently for somebody. I could have sworn you were tagged in it. I could
oh,
be.
I'm supposed to
I
be.
have a lot of fever dreams, so it could have been a fever dream.
I mean, I've done a few
100%.
things. Like, I just designed a filament rack, so it's like an actual, like most filament holders now. People are
Mm-hmm.
designing them to mount on the walls. I don't want because it's in my room. I don't want my racks in my front room on the
Mm-hmm.
walls. I have this bench in there and designed an actual retractable. Like you get the drawer slides, and it
Yeah.
mounts to that, and I can just pull them out like a drawer, and it sits on these rails. I designed that. I designed a light box. I've been doing a lot of small stuff for contests. So like I designed a one of the contests on one of the site is design a ice scraper. So I designed a
Okay.
two-sided ice scraper with one side
Oh,
with teeth and one on, and had a lot of good feedback on that. And people are actually using this right now. Um,
that's pretty cool.
but I'm not like selling this design, but some people do make things and they sell the design, and or they put
Mm-hmm.
licenses where you can't like redistribute that design, or what we call remix it, where they make a change to it or adapt it to a different look.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's what I'm saying. Like if anybody wants me to print anything for them, they have to either find the file, and then they're literally just paying me for the printing services.
Okay.
It's weird how the the rules and the licensing works for the 3D print world because it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned briefly, so you have a fiance actually who is in the Philippines, correct?
Yep.
Right. And so you are working on getting her towards coming here because you guys have a wedding in, you said June, was it?
Yes. So we met
Okay.
be 4 years come January.
Okay.
It was actually we met online literally a day. Well, for me it was the day after New Year's, so January 2nd. For her it would be the third.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love time zones,
Yeah.
and hit it off. But this was also right before COVID really hit,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple months after that, after we met, everybody went full lockdown. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Philippines is very much, they went 2 full years of lockdown, um, and very hardcore lockdown too. Um, so I didn't get to, during that time we were together. I worked, or when I met, I was working at Amazon. I had left Amazon and took over a computer repair company. And um, we'll just say stuff happened financially, economy wise. I ended up having to close that business last year.
Mhm.
Um, and then they finally came out of lockdown around February last year, and I ended up getting a new job. And you're probably gonna get a lot of ahs when I explain this part. Um, I told her that I was, we finally were making plans for me to come out there, and if I needed to find a job. I got a new job in May. I didn't tell her I got a new job in May. I told
Okay.
her I was still driving Uber, because I was making secret plans, and her parents, her best friend, everybody was in on it. It was like the first ever best kept secret for something like this, because
There you
usually
go.
they don't those secrets don't ever last. So it was planned for me to be there in July. I told her I was going to be there in August. Um, and the plan was for her best friend to take her to the hotel that I was going to be at eventually for lunch so she can see the hotel. And I had bought her a dress that she didn't know I bought her the dress. Her friend gave it to her, and she was going to wear the dress
Oh.
and do the whole. I felt like I was 18 again. There's going to be a lot of
Yeah, this is so
18-year-old moments here,
cute.
early high school moments here. Um, so I to explain that why I'm flying, because obviously there's a time difference and it takes a long time to fly there, 24
Mhm.
hours almost. I told her I have to travel for work. I have to fly to Seattle, and then I have to fly to Maryland to, do some IT stuff.
Right, it's like giving a heads
Uh,
up, like, "Hey, I'm not trying to ignore you all day. I got a lot of stuff going on." But then also you're, like, trying to hide from her, like, shit, she can't know that I'm flying out there." So you gotta, like, kind
yeah,
of play the, "Okay, got it, got it." So we're putting on a facade for her. Okay,
yeah. And Seattle was the
okay,
first stop. Maryland wasn't a real stop. For my trip, I have to fly from Phoenix to Seattle to South Korea, and then from Korea to Manila in Philippines.
okay.
Um, so I'm sitting in the airport, and I decide I'm gonna start taking some video of me being at the airport, me taking off,
Well, there you
landing,
go.
you know
It's like
you know,
proof for it kinda thing of like, "Oh, yeah, I'm
well, that
flying."
there's it turns into something.
Okay.
Um, like I said, with the whole head 18-year-old me again. Um, so I start building this video, and I was like, "No, all right, goodbye, Phoenix." And mind you, this is July. Top
Mhm.
Gun was the hottest movie at the time. So me taking a
Absolutely.
time, guess what the soundtrack was? Danger Zone.
Oh, that's
Can't
cute.
can't do a plane movie. So like this is adding to the coyness of the video. Because she
Gotcha.
didn't, she thinks it's just a normal video. But so I fly and then I take off from Seattle and I say goodbye, Seattle. And then the next video is me landing in Korea. And this is all one video, by the way, that I made for, with different segments.
Mhm.
And it says, "Well, hello, Maryland. Wait, there's a problem," says the caption. And it's showing a whole line of Korean airplanes on the tarmac. And I'm
Oh.
like, I was like, a key, hey, hint, hint. And then I go into this thing and I start playing our music and I say, well, I did get a job. This is what it is. And, to explain, but she doesn't have the video at this point. This is just what I'm doing at that point
Right,
in
right,
the video.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So I continue and I take off and I land in Manila. And at this point, so once I land, her friend's supposed to be taking her to the hotel.
Mhm.
And I'm supposed to be rushing there from the airport. So I get there, and apparently she's already in the restaurant with her best friend. I didn't know that they were there already. I get checked in, and I'm like, and what I'm surprised they didn't see me because the front lobby and then the restaurant's right there, and so they had full view to see me. But I'm wearing a black hoodie, black pants, so
Right,
I'm
but she's not actively looking for you
yeah,
either, so it's a little bit easier to kind of, sneak on through because she's not, "Oh, he's gonna be here." She's not, like, looking, you know?
yeah. But it's
Yeah.
an open wall restaurant, so she could like literally maybe 100 feet away. So I get up there, change, and I had the hotel get flowers and a wine. So I come down with the flowers and I send the video. She watches the video. She doesn't really pay attention to it. She doesn't have sound on. And I text her best friend, did she watch the video? Like, yeah, yes, she watched the video. Did
Mhm.
she have the sound on? No. Like, okay, tell her to watch it again with the sound on. and she's thinking it's just a video of me flying to work. So that's why she did
Mm-hmm.
not pay attention to it, which kind of hurt. Like, not gonna watch a video I send you.
I do it to Negan
Um,
all the time.
yeah. So she's like, she starts watching it and she's listening, and then she fine cues the music, and um, she's like, "Wait a second, what? I don't understand." He's flying for work. So I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" I'm like, "Do you want me to just come in?" And she's like, "Yeah, come in." So I walk up straight up to her, and she looks up, and then you can expect what the tears and the happiness, and I'm 5'10", she's 5'2",
Short
and even
girls
still,
unite.
she's even also on a raised floor. So yeah, and I'm not a small guy. I'm a big guy. So literally, I'm like, the whole Chris Tucker and Rush Hour. Man, I'm bigger than all of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first trip there, and then last year I went out there, or earlier this year I went out there again for. She has a daughter, and our daughter was
Mhm.
like 8 months old when I met her online.
Mhm.
So she knows me as Papa Sean. Um,
Mhm.
and I went out there for her fourth birthday in April. So, um, and I taught her Pikachu. So every time she sees me, she goes Pikachu. So I
Oh,
even
it's so
printed it.
cute. I love
And,
that.
and she's addicted to Legos now because I introduced her to Legos against her
Yeah.
mom's.
That's
You
like the
know,
perfect age for it too. I have a
yeah,
almost 7, and a recently 9-year-old. She's turned 9 on the 6th. And they're
yeah,
all like really into Legos. The boys love Pokemon, Transformers too. I don't know if she's into
yeah.
Transformers yet, but just be on the lookout. It might happen.
Well, I mean, they don't have a whole lot of that stuff over there too. So like their TV shows are a whole lot different. She doesn't really know what Pokemon are. She
Oh,
just knows
okay.
what Pikachu is. She kind of knows what some of the other ones are, but she's learning. Like she got into
Yeah.
Legos when she was three. You know, just over
Mhm.
3.5, which was Christmas last year. Her mom didn't want to because she was afraid she's gonna eat them or stick them. Like she's almost 4. She can handle Legos.
Eh,
Like I want to build her a bunk bed, and she's like, "No, she's too young to be on the top of the bunk bed." I'm like, "Babe, she's climbing on the bunk bed and sleeping up there on her naps, anyways."
Yeah, yeah.
7 mile argument or 7,000 mile argument.
So we're
Is she
trying to
still
get
walk?
here. You took time off because you had a lot of stuff going on or whatever, but your goal has been you're trying to go ahead and sell some of your work and stuff too, and in the streaming you're trying to earn like this extra income so you can go ahead and get them. The goal is try to get them here in April, right?
Well, so I had to be there first before we can get our visa started. So when I went out there the first time, that
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to get the application. I got the application put in October last year,
Okay.
and the application's processed out of California, and they said it would take 14 and a half months to process the application. So from
Mm.
October, they said 14 and a half months. When December came around, they said it will take 15 and a half months. So we've been waiting, and they actually approved the application a week before the 1 year mark. At that point, we had to wait for our national visa center ID number, which took about a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's ready to go to the consulate interview, but we're waiting on another form that takes 2 to 3 months. And we're right now just past the 2 month mark on that. So we're anxiously waiting for that form. Then she can go do the interview and do the medical interview, which will then allow her to get her visa. And
Mm-hmm.
then um, I we're saying April because Stacy's in pre-K charter school right now. So I'm like, I will for how much I would love for them to be here as soon as possible. She needs to finish her first year of school,
Yeah.
so she has a transcript and stuff. Because she's not, I'm not going to have her go to public school here. She's
Mm,
going to go
okay.
to, there's many reasons,
Private.
but I
You
want
do
her to go to
private
better
school?
public charter.
Public chat.
There's
Okay.
a school here called American Leadership Academy, so she's going to go there or one of the other ones. Just because she's bilingual, she kind of speaks both Tagalog and English interchangeably,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I want her to be able, learn English properly, and she's also ahead of the game as far as school because she's
Yeah.
pre-K. She knows how to do stuff that first graders are just now learning. So she's very smart.
There you go. Oh, that's so cool. And then you guys also have a wedding planned. right?
Yeah.
And the wedding is it June or July?
Uh,
I know I just said it.
June. So we're setting on June 12th.
Okay.
Um, and I already got people asking me if I'm gonna stream. I'm like, no, I wish I could because it's gonna be in the woods, so there's not gonna be cell signal. So we're getting
Oh,
married off of a lake. It's gonna be a small wedding, and then we're gonna go down and have the reception um, at a casino restaurant, just a small reception. Um,
yeah.
and out of most people, like most women I've been with, she's very simple. She doesn't want like a big whole thing. She doesn't want like an
Yeah.
elaborate ring or any of that stuff. And even though I'm like, but babe, I really want to get you a nice ring. And she's like, no, babe, just keep simple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she's very,
that's what I'm
very
telling
modest.
Negan too. I want a simple little intimate wedding, us, our kids, maybe our parents, maybe our siblings, because we both come he comes from a family of 8 kids and I'm from a family of 7 kids. So we both want something small and simple and honeymoon wise, I mean that's I don't want a large reception. I want to save any amount of gifts or money that we get for the wedding. I want to save that for the honeymoon. I want to travel.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Well,
Or go
for
gamble.
us,
I don't know.
it's a bit hard. Like she has an aunt that lives in California and another one that lives in Canada. They're both coming down. The aunt in California is trying to see if we can get visas for her mom and dad to be there. And then, um, it's gonna be about 30 people. And I only got two
Yeah.
brothers and their wives or girlfriends and kids. So, and then my best man lives on the East Coast, and I've known him since high school, and hopefully he'll be able to make it, be my best man. So it's gonna be a really nice wedding. But we're not like doing a big elaborate setup at the lake,
Yeah.
mostly because it's National Forest Service. So you can't really do it, big elaborate things at
Mhm.
national forests. So it's just gonna be like 30 chairs, hiring um the officiant. I have her go check in at the casino, and her and the bridesmaids, everybody get ready, and then I drive up, and it's like an hour and a half drive or more from here to up north.
Okay.
So it's gonna be, and
That's
then another
exciting.
45 minutes from the casino to the lake. So
Hey, it's your big day. You might as well make the most out of it, you know? Fuck
uh,
it.
we chose the lake because here in Arizona in June it's gonna be 106 degrees approximately. Up there by the lake, it's higher elevations, about 7,000 elevation, so it's supposed to be about 85, 86. So I didn't want to have a hot summer wedding.
Yeah, no, nobody wants a hot
Yeah.
summer wedding. Not even Satan himself wants a hot summer wedding. Okay? Nobody does. That's a lot of clothes, a lot of makeup, a lot of moving, and a lot
Yeah.
of heat. No, thank you. Unless we're getting
And
married in
have
the nude, no, thank you.
and having been a photographer and done summer weddings, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, what
I mean,
can
at
we
least we're
expect
dry
to
here.
see? What was
Go
that?
ahead. I said at least it's dry here and not humid. So
That's true. That's true. I'm from the Midwest. It's nothing but humidity. So
yeah.
I prefer Floridian humidity over Midwestern humidity.
Oh,
100%.
I'll take the dry. I'll take 118 dry over 100 degrees and 100%.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And Philippines is like 100% humidity, but it's like 91, and it's like fine for me.
Yeah.
But once it's over 100, I'm done.
Well, what can we expect to see from you and your content on both your channels here?
So right now on my gaming channel, I'm kind of stepped away. I was actually thinking about starting streaming again because of this podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm also waiting for a kind of like a production rebrand from Get Rec Labs. I'm actually paying Get Rec Labs. I wish I could promote them, but I don't have a link for them. They don't have that program, but they're really like a very high end design studio.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're waiting on Kick to release their API, their code, so I can do the things. And we're actually doing things that no other design artist studio has done before. And because I like sci-fi, and if anybody's ever seen my streams before, I have a full like kind of like a starship type production.
Mhm.
You know, my community's called the Stream Ship the crew of the Stream Ship Andromeda. So
Oh,
I
cute.
have a bridge and everything.
That's cute.
So that's on hold for right now. Possibly, I may stream again soon. Um, the 3D channel was supposed to be up 2 weeks ago, and then this last weekend, I was hoping it was gonna be up this weekend. Um, I'm hoping by this next weekend, because I get some money coming in from financial aid, that I can buy a new camera. Assuming my pies aren't dead, it'll be up hopefully soon.
Okay.
Um, or I might have to go back to my old way of doing it. And I really don't want to go back to my old way of
All right.
using these cameras. But yeah, and
Now
it
you
looks cool.
mentioned
Like I spent like 3 hours on the new design, and it looks really cool. So
I'm excited to see it. Now you mentioned about how to order through you. You said you have your own Etsy shop. You want to go ahead and
yep,
plug that website again for us?
it's a Rogue Commander. Well, I'm gonna be making a new website, but it's gonna be probably the same domain. RogueCmdr3D.store, or
Okay.
you can just find Rogue Commander 3D on Etsy. It
Okay.
all just goes to Etsy anyways, but it's my own domain name.
Yeah, easier to
And
find.
or you can DM me on Rogue Commander 3D on Twitter, or you can DM me on my primary one. But I try to keep all the 3D stuff on the 3D channel because I
Yeah.
hate having to switch back between both. Um, you can also email me at RogueCmdr3D at Gmail. Um, but I think Twitter is probably the easier option of all.
Twitter's pretty easy to get a hold of you. Yeah, I
Yep.
can confirm.
I mean, if it's something I have listed on there on Etsy, like a kick sign and stuff like that, that's pretty easy to do. You just go through it, and he helps me out because I can do my shipping right through there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something custom, I can probably do it through Etsy or just DM me, and we'll come up to an arrangement and do the payment through PayPal or something like that. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Right on. Well, did you have any questions for me or my community or the podcast or anything before we go ahead and we tie things up here?
Uh, Trying to think. I've been switching back and forth between your streaming and like
It's
for
totally
some
fine
reason
if
I would.
you don't have any questions. I just asked that because one time I didn't and somebody had like a list of questions and I was like, "Oh, my bad. I should probably start asking that."
Well, um, no, I don't have any question unless anybody has anybody blah, 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 blah. If anybody
Mhm.
has a desire to have something printed, um, or wants to see a certain thing printed, let me know. Um,
Okay.
I didn't get to go into like all like I was explaining how all my printers are different. Um, but I can they have their strengths in different areas, so I can do a lot of different type of prints.
Okay.
Um, a lot of them can do anything, but there's some that can just do better of one thing. And I got some really interesting printers. Like I even got one that has a conveyor belt, so I can just print. Like if I can do keychains right now, which I plan on doing different ones from Mac, um, I can actually just do it on a conveyor line, just print it like that, or I can do big, huge prints on a conveyor line. So
Okay. I do
a lot of
have
cool things.
I do have one question here last for you. Jordan again asks, do you have like a set price on like how much a custom like name sign would be?
Like the kick one, or
I
um,
think she's looking more for like a decoration like in her room kind of thing. She's not a streamer. She's not even a gamer.
uh, that's a loaded question. Then we have to talk about size and
Probably
stuff
like a
because
probably like a
um,
sliding scale kind of thing. It's gonna be like a case by case scenario, like DM you.
yeah, if it's a completely custom thing that I don't already have made and a design for, then yeah, that'll be the best for a DM because
Okay.
especially about the size, because like my biggest print bed is literally a foot,
Okay.
um 12 inch by 12 inch, so I can only print so much on that bed. But if it's like multiple pieces, we can go that route.
Okay.
um I'm actually
Then I'll
working
send.
on a couple.
She's my personal friend too. We have a really, we have a strange dynamic of relationship. We're gonna have to do a podcast on it. But I will send her your information so she can DM you directly. I just got her on Twitter, so I'll send her so she can go ahead and message you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of things in the pipe that I'm trying to design.
Yeah.
um I think the one of the biggest ones I'm designing is actually an LED kick sign. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally each letter is a foot tall.
Okay.
So
That's
it'll
pretty
be
cool.
individual letters and the LED strands are gonna route through that. I actually have it all printed out. It's just it's going to take a lot to put together. But it's going to be like kind of like that small one, but
Yeah, but just
neon
bigger.
sign style. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
bigger. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on the podcast today. I had a lot of fun learning more about you. Some stuff I kind of already knew, some stuff I didn't know. It was interesting learning about the 3D world.
Yep.
I did start doing a new thing actually is my guest, if you have somebody in particular that may be online that you would like to host, I would be happy to go ahead and bring this party on over to anybody of your choosing. Do you have anybody that's online right now?
Talking to me or talking to your...
To you. I said my guest. My guest gets to go ahead and choose.
Well, you already know my... Actually, yes. He's online.
Okay.
And then this was actually one of my suggestions for maybe your next podcast interview.
Okay.
His name is Obi-Wan Kenoly. I don't know.
Can you type that in my chat real quick for me?
Yep.
I'm gonna copy it and we'll go ahead and we'll host him on over. Absolutely.
He's actually a veteran.
Okay.
So he's a really cool dude. His link is in chat now.
Perfect. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll get this going. And before we leave, I just, like I said, I want to say thank you for coming in, hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. And guys, gals, they, thems, if you're interested, head up RogueCmdr3D on Twitter or go to his Etsy page, which is RogueCmdr3D.store. Correct?
Yep.
Perfect. And
when it
yeah,
works.
well, thank you. Well, thank you for being a part of today's episode of Sundays with Sin. I really appreciate the honor. And chat, if you just hang tight, we're gonna go ahead and read his buddy over here. Give me just a moment to set this up. I'm still getting used to this. I'm still working on this. So all right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys on next week's episode. Bye.